Hi, how about that theme tune? That's probably the most positive I'm gonna be about this episode. I started off appearing like I was going to be overly negative, but let's just take this in bits. First of all, the new theme tune. I love it. It sampled the original from the 60s and it just brings its own weird, it's like the fluidity of space around it, and it has those soft drums that still sound like they're very hard. One of my requisites for the Doctor Who theme, like the intro, is for it to be a bit weird. It sounds good when you do like the orchestral version, but there's something about it. It always has been like a weird whine and like it doesn't sound like something you would have to do on a violin, which is why, even though they're fine, Christopher Eccleston's and David Tennant's Doctor Who intros, they never really grabbed me. They never really made me go like, ooh, that's the Doctor Who theme. Even though quintessentially, obviously, technically speaking, they are. But no, we get like a brand new Doctor Who theme because we got a brand new Doctor. Makes sense because they seem to do that every time. Only Matt Smith seemed to get two genuinely different ones, even though David Tennant's got a little bit of a oomph, a bit of a revamp for his third series, which is the fourth in total. So ever since the relaunch in 2005, Doctor Who has only had the one composer, Murray Gold. More so than, you know, the fact that, technically speaking, Stephen Moffat and Russell T Davies, they kind of felt in the same era, was because of this man bringing his own, you know, his orchestra and his consistency to the themes and the music and the background in Doctor Who. Like, you'd always know, like, somebody would be someone by their leitmotif, or, you know, an event would revolve around them, because you'd be like, oh yeah, that's the Cyberman music playing in the background, so obviously the events of Dark Waters, it introduces the Cybermen. When Series 11 was announced, it had been made very clear that Murray Gold would not be returning to Doctor Who in the relaunched Series 11. So that actually had me more worried than the arrival of Jodie Whittaker, the arrival of Chris Chibnall as the new showrunner, and basically anything else they could do, because Murray Gold has given us some, well, he's given us some gold, badumtish! That didn't really deserve a badumtish, but I'm probably gonna have added one here for effect in post-production anyway. Post-production is what I call mucking about in Sony Vegas. So Series 11 is being composed by Sega Nakanoda, who is an award-winning composer in his own right. But, you know, I didn't want to talk about his music in the last episode because I felt like, A, I would have to hear the theme tune first, and B, well, it's themes, it's music. You need to get more than just the one episode. So his theme for the Doctor Who, we're still talking about music, by the way, is good. That's a great bit to start with. It's a good theme. That to the side. His music seems to be less orchestral, less present in the foreground than what Murray Gold delivered us, which is understandable. Murray Gold very often did very bombastic themes and backgrounds that sometimes overshadowed the events itself. Like, you'd hear the music over the characteristics and the acting of, well, the actors, which is rather pivotal in a series. So there's less stuff to hum, but it serves its purpose. It works. It's good. I've never once found the music distracting, so it's like it's probably a little bit more integrated in the show itself. So now he does his job. I'm happy he's on board. It's like it's not bad. Oh, this is all sounding very damning with faint praise, but I don't mean that. He's making it part of the experience. So the Doctor and her 3 new companions arrive on a planet called Desolation, and that's a name to run away from really fast. They actually don't. They arrive in space. They get scooped up by 2 racers, and that's the theme of the episode. They have to race to a ghost monument, and yeah. Unfortunately, the episode itself, it's not really that focused on a race, seeing as all characters are with each other at all times. I might have liked this episode a bit more if the Doctor and Jazz were with the one. I forgot his name because I'm bad with names. And that Graham and Ryan were with the other. That was Astronomer, the lady. Because that way at least you could set them up with different events. They wouldn't have to be together at all times, so they might be able to run into different dangers. But yes, this wasn't a bad episode, but I would never say this would be recommended viewing, because on the whole it did give us like a desert planet with ruins and different things than just desert, so it felt like, okay, this planet at least was inhabited at one point. So it's not like Tatooine and that one planet where, you know, the girl in Star Wars, Rey, got picked up from, because those felt like they were one-on-one, you know, the same planet, but they were both desert planets. But at least this desert planet felt different from the previous desert planet we saw in Doctor Who, which was the planet of the dead. Which, granted, that was just desert because everybody got eaten and turned into sand, something like that. This at least felt lived in, and that was quite intentionally so. They gave us like the ruins and where the people had been, and they gave us a plot setup that the bad guy from the previous episode, the Stenza, wasn't just gonna be a bad guy for a one-off episode. They actually part of this oppressive empire. And as far as foreshadowing goes, that's not quite too bad. I quite like that. Like I said in The Woman Who Fell to Earth, I got the feeling from Shim Shah that there was more behind him. So there being more behind him is basically like on the table now. We're definitely going to see the Stenza again, and they're probably going to be in like the series finale this season, because the Doctor insulted his honor, or impugned his honor. Impugn is a good word, and I'm on board for that. That's good. That's nice stuff. The rest is like the planet was supposed to be filled with dangers, which amounted to don't touch the water because it's got flesh-eating microbes. Watch out for killer robots with guns, who would amount to a bunch of guys in suits. And killer tapestry. Let's talk about the killer tapestry. One thing I didn't like about Russell T Davies' approach to story arcing was that he would name drop a thing a bunch of times, and then, you know, all of a sudden in the last episode, it would be the thing that came out of nowhere and joined all the episodes together. We had Bad Wolf in Series 1, which turned out to be Rose Tyler spreading the word Bad Wolf through all time and space so she could find the breadcrumbs to end up on a station where the word Bad Wolf Incorporation originated from. Which was very vague and, you know, okay, fine. Then we had Torchwood. Because if you visited that institute, it got created as an organization. And then it popped up a few times in the series, like way in the future, in current day, and at the end of the series, Torchwood was a thing. And then it got a spin-off with lots of boobies and swearing. Great, because that's what we think of when we think of Doctor Who. That was... And then we got Mr. Saxon in Series 3, who turned out to be Master Number 6. And even though his name is an anagram for Master Number 6, and he was the 6th actor to play the Master in a predominant role, yeah, that apparently wasn't the connection. Russell T Davies said that was just a coincidence. I think he's lying, just got caught with his pants down. And that was meh. And then in Series 4 we got what we got? Oh yeah, we got the planets disappearing and the bees disappearing and the Medusa cascade, and it was supposed to be several arc words coming together, but it never really worked for me is what I'm trying to say. In the end, it just all amounted to So we get these psychic cloths that kill people by feeding them fear and then tearing the life out of them, something like that. On paper, these guys sound terrific and scary. In practice, they amounted to nothing. It gave us another psychic character who gave us another vague line for the Doctor to be afraid of. Remember, he will knock 4 times, and it is returning. Yeah. Remember that one lady that said to Donna, "I'm sorry for your loss, but I haven't lost anybody yet." No, I meant your upcoming loss. I really didn't like those takes on storytelling. And it seems that with the timeless child mentioned by these psychic cloths, we're gonna have another one of those. The Doctor forgot a bit of a past apparently, and there is a timeless child. Whatever this timeless child might be, at least it put the what or the who back into Doctor Who. But it's probably gonna usurp the series finale as the thing that is the threat, as opposed to the Stentor. And my camera's acting up, I do apologise. So this timeless child, whatever it might be, is probably gonna usurp the Stentor as the actual threat of what the series finale is gonna be. Either that, or it's gonna be another Stephen Moffat thing that it's gonna take the 13th Doctor her entire tenure to figure out. I really hope not. Like I said, the story itself, the threats of the episode, it didn't work for me. What I did like were the character interactions. The blokey guy, not so much. The lady, a bit more. When Graham said he lost his wife, and she tearfully replied, "I did too," or "my too," because I'm not going to mention how. That actually quite got to me. Graham trying to connect to Ryan, and Ryan being a bit more scoffing it off. I quite liked that. It gave us like, these people have a past history and they're building up on it. The Doctor trying to encourage Ryan about climbing a ladder, because he's not very good at climbing ladders, despite having climbed a bloody crane last episode. I quite like that too. But so the Doctor having several supporting companions, that's a nice little bit for me. I like that. But what about Jazz? Poor Jasmine, she fell to the wayside a little bit. And that made me think, what was she for in the last episode? Yeah, she operated the crane, but character-wise, I can't think of any pivotal moments that required her to be part of the dynamic. That's a bit sad, because I want every character to be as important as the others. But no, she just feels superfluous. So what I did like was that the titular ghost monument was the TARDIS. That's a nice little reveal. It's like, what is this mysterious ghost monument? It's like, it's the TARDIS, and that's brilliant. I wonder how Chris Chibnall felt when he came up with that. That was a bit of good television. It's like, oh wow, of course it is. The actual TARDIS, let's talk about that now. I don't mind the crystalline design much, but it's not one of my favourite TARDIS incarnations. Even with the 9th and 10th Doctor's TARDIS, the Coral Desktop, at least it felt like a TARDIS, it felt like an ancient machine. Even though the 11th Doctor original, TARDIS, it wasn't my favourite, it still felt like an engine of sorts. The 11th and the 12th Doctor's TARDIS, like the grey one, that's my favourite of the new series. At felt like the TARDIS, but this is just like a bunch of weird organic crystal things. And I know that Time Lord technology likes crystal things, but it feels cramped. The set feels small. We only get the one level again, fine. I can understand for practical reasons why they only use one level, but I just don't like the design that much. Worst of all, because if it's so small, it's also very poorly lit. It seems like it's very dark. Maybe they'll add some extra lamps for the rest of the series, or maybe next series, because on the whole, no, I don't like it. I know the Doctor likes it, but they redecorated and I don't like it. And I've never been this negative about the TARDIS before, which sounds very fanboyish. It's just my opinion. So yeah, decent episode, but like I said before, thematically, like in a sense of continuity within the series, this episode felt very the same as the previous. Which is, in a way, it's good because it feels like it's part of a whole. But I'm afraid, because Doctor Who in the past has always been like from one story to the next, it could very much so change genres. Compare Hyde, where the Doctor is like traveling into a pocket dimension of time and there's a haunted house vibe. Or the Crimson Horror, which is like a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen kind of vibe, like a half steampunk science fiction set into like Victorian London. I specifically used two examples from Matt Smith's run with Clara, so that you could, you'd very much so be able to tell that they're two different stories. Or Rings of Akathan. Seriously, any story from Doctor Who to the next, it could be different, completely different. What I felt going from The Woman That Fell to Earth to the Ghost Monument, that it's very much so the same. In a way that this is not bad per se, but I'm afraid that maybe if the next episode isn't something completely different again, this series of Doctor Who, Series 11, might just feel samey, like it's gonna be the same vibe throughout. I'm afraid it might, in hindsight, become a bit boring, because like I've said before in like one of earlier videos, Chris Chibnall is using a writing board, like a writing room, and there's no like the one writer for an episode, technically speaking. So yeah, I'm a bit concerned if this is gonna be the way we go forward. Right, that's enough rambling from me, and that's a bit more than average. How about you? You need to interact with me. Be dismissive of me. There's a comment section, please. Just, talk down to me. I need it. I live for the abuse. I have various social medias, especially my Goodreads. I'm quite proud of. Tell me what you think about the TARDIS and that I'm just being a whingy, moany Myrtle. Tell me what you think about everything. I need to know. Please, just please. And yes, I'm quite aware my camera's been acting up recently with trying to autofocus on my face and it becomes a blue mess, but be honest, it's better for you this way because otherwise you'd have to look at my face the entire time. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe because YouTube channels need to endorse these actions. Also, smash that bell. Don't smash any bells, don't like and don't subscribe. I don't deserve any of those things.
He was the doctor.
So I'll see you next week. See, there's the blurry thing again. So I'll see you next week to see Rosa in what seems to be like the first historical ever in Doctor Who since ever. I'm quite concerned with this.